elementary school librarian who spray painted the word groomer on 2 public libraries last year has been charged with child pornography.
Of course.
Charles Sutherland, a 31-year-old, faces at least 7 charges. 7 charges of possessing child pornography. Great mugshot. Now, this comes after Sutherland, who again worked as a librarian at Northview Elementary School in Bowie, was caught vandalizing 2 libraries. Sutherland was arrested last June after police said he was caught on video spray painting the word groomer on entrances to public libraries in New Carrolton and Greenbelt around the time of Capitol Pride Week. So there's that.
Okay, so this is a picture perfect case of projection. Not only does he watch child porn and is in possession of it, he works at a library.
No,
So
it's amazing.
So he thinks, well, everyone who works at libraries must be a groomer like I am. So he goes to spray paints.
So welcome back to the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasir, and this is the story that we have on tap for you today, folks. You just saw about a minute of that clip. We're going to play the rest of it in a few seconds. But what did we hear just Sank the Jank say? It's a projection. He's just projecting it because, he's working at a library and, he thinks that everybody else is probably the same way. Well, he's probably true. Birds of a feather flock together. People who are pedos flock with pedos. And that's probably true. You probably do have a lot of people in the libraries, the same kind of guy that this guy is. Abso-freaking-lutely. Okay, so I don't know what the heck Sank is thinking, okay, that this is just, projection or whatever. In fact, I just want to go over what Sank was saying and do a reaction to that, and then we'll follow up with the rest of the clip, and we'll go from there, all right, folks? Let's do that right now.
So this is a picture perfect case of projection. Not only does he watch child porn and is in possession of it, he works at a library.
No, it's amazing.
So he thinks, well, everyone who works at libraries must be a groomer like I am.
Ta-da! Ta-da! I'm not saying everybody that works at a library is a groomer and a pedophile, but I am saying that there's a lot of people who are pedophiles and groomers. They probably do work at a library. All right? This is probably news to Sank. And these guys are the ones, did you ever hear? Look, I could be wrong. I try to watch as many clips as I can, but there's only so many hours in a day and there's so many things, so many channels out there. But I don't know if I've ever seen the young the young Turks ever with the tenacity, the ferocity, the absolute, powerful expression of their opinions. If they basically fallen on the side that, maybe there is something wrong when you have these kind of age-inappropriate books at a public library or in a school library that's inappropriate for children. And maybe that these parents that are doing that, I don't know if Sank has any children. I think Anna has said that she doesn't right now. Maybe if they had kids, they'd change their minds, or at least they'd fight a little bit for the parents' rights in these kind of things. Nobody's saying book burning we're just saying that there are things that are not. What if this guy, I'll tell you what, supposedly, he's a straight white, but we don't know yet or whatever. But I will tell you one thing. If this guy wants to do something, he ought to be like Jeffrey Marsh and basically say that he's a binary transgender or something, and he can get out of this thing just like that. Because guess what? If you're white, straight, and male, and you do this, then you're a pedo, then you're a pervert, then you're exploiting, children, minors or whatever. But if you happen to be transsexual or transgender, or you happen to be like, Jeffrey Marsh, or pretending that you're a woman, well, then guess what? Everything's fair game then. Then it's perfectly fine for you to do things like this. Anyways, let's continue.
So he goes to spray paints groomer on the library.
It's just, look, the thing is.
Tell us, Anna, tell us.
When you are obsessed with an issue, when it's all you seem to think about, all you seem to care about, you talk about it incessantly. What are you trying to hide? You get what I'm saying?
100%.
Right? Because I just, I don't think about what a gay couple does in the privacy of their own homes, ever. It has no impact on my life, I don't care, right?
Yeah.
But you'll hear right-wing pundits, right-wing talk show hosts, obsess over those issues, not even.
They're not obsessed over those issues. Nobody gives a crap what a gay couple does or a transgender couple does or a trans, sexual couple does. I don't give a crap, okay, what they do in the privacy of their home. You guys always do this. It's always a straw man. You're always, gaslighting and crap like that. Nobody cares what you do in the privacy of your own freaking home, for crying out loud. What we care about is when you bring that into the public sphere and then you try to ram that crap down our throats and say, you know what? It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine, okay, if you see two guys, all right, having sex in the middle of a park. That's perfectly fine. That's natural. It's okay if you see, heterosexual. I don't care if it's heterosexual. It's perfectly fine. It's just part of the times. It's just sex. What do you guys care about? Or if you bring it into the school system, right? And you basically start showing kids, how to put condoms on bananas. It's just a fruit and a piece of plastic with some oil on it. I mean, what's the harm? We're not teaching your kids to have sexual intercourse, but there's all kinds of other sexual things they can do. They can masturbate, they can have anal sex, oral sex. They can do all kinds of things. But they never ask the parents if it's okay with them. Right? That's what we're upset about. That's what parents get upset about. And these are parents that are both on the right, on the left, and they're independents. Because then they're seeing their kids are becoming hypersexualized, and then you have sexual deviants like this guy over here. And then they allow all this crap to occur in libraries, drag queen story hour or whatever, and it's a public place. I understand that. But then somebody wants to read a book on, Christmas, or wants to read a book about summertime, or wants to read a book about, anything else. And all of a sudden, they can't because they're religious. So you can't do that at a public library, but you can, hypersexualize and read graphic, sex novels to children or whatever. That's perfectly fine. Or in a school library, it's perfectly fine.
Even an issue. But why? Why is that on your mind all the time? And by the way, that was rhetorical. You don't have to answer it. I think everyone knows what I'm getting at. But the other thing I wanted to just quickly mention is how stupid this guy is, right? Because he spray paints Groomer on libraries, he vandalizes the libraries. Police come to arrest him, and he's like, yeah, you can search my house. Yeah, go ahead, search my house.
You have child porn.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm so glad that he didn't know that he had rights. Okay.
Are you?
Yeah, so they searched his home.
Are you
and
really?
They found the child pornography. And now he's facing child pornography charges, 7 charges.
By the way, if you're left wing, it's great that we all have rights. But if someone who's doing something really bad waives those rights, that's not a bad thing. Okay, so that's how you find the evidence against them in this particular case.
Now, during the search, the document says officers found numerous diapers, children's dolls, and a child-sized doll in Sutherland's bed.
Not well. This guy's not well.
According to Sutherland, he has no children or nieces or nephews, thank God. He also admitted he had child pornography on a laptop in his home. In January, a digital forensics examination of the laptop was completed and found 7 files of child pornography. It's so disgusting. God,
oh my God. So he's got the diaper fetish.
No.
Maybe this was, in a sense, a cry for help and trying to get caught. Because, does he, I don't know how he got caught, but this camera's usually on.
Oh, Sank, you just jumped into, you triggered so many people. A cry for help. Oh, are you gonna get hit? Oh, you are gonna get, just be ready, okay, for the Twitterism. And, on social media, oh, what did Sank say? It was just a cry for help. Mental problems. It was just, it was one of those things. It just couldn't be that this guy's just a sexual deviant. No, it's a cry for help. These guys, they just need a little bit of help. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just crying out for help. The kids that they sexualized, those kids, when they cried out for help, nobody cares about those kids that were sexualized by this deviant. Nobody cares about them. But this guy was crying out for help, and nobody helped him. We gotta help this guy. Can somebody help him, please?
In these public buildings, he works at one of them. I mean, how
He doesn't seem very smart.
Yeah,
Let's just
he
put it
does.
that way.
I mean, at a minimum.
Huh, are you calling him dumb, Anna? You're going to trigger a lot of people. They're going to say, Anna, you can't call people stupid or dumb. You can't do that. That's not being woke. You're not a good social justice, windbag. No, you're not good at virtue signaling.
I'm not the brightest bulb, but maybe he's trying to get caught. But either way, guys, when a guy walks into a room and yells, "Everyone's a groomer," there's an excellent chance that that's what's in their head. Okay. So, and by the way, to be fair, not all of them. So for QAnon, for example, they believe in absolutely crazy things, but it's significant chunk of those people were actually victims. And so when you're a victim of sexual assault or pedophilia, et cetera, you think, oh, it happens to everybody because it happened to you, right? Mm-hmm. But also true of the assailants. The ones that do the crimes think everybody's doing them. They're like, what? People aren't raping kids?
Oh, God.
Right? So that's why you're seeing all of these right-wingers screaming, from different corners. Something it wasn't even.
They're trying to protect their kids, Sancta Jank. Don't you freaking understand that, you fool? We're trying to protect our children. What are you now, bashing parents, bashing moms, bashing dads, bashing grandmothers and grandfathers, aunts and uncles? Is that what you're basically doing? Is that what you're saying? That somebody stands up at a school board meeting and basically says that the school board out there, you guys are allowing graphic sex novels, you're sexualizing our children without our permission, and you're basically saying we're the ones that are we're the sexual deviants? You really want to freaking go there? Is that what you're really saying, you and Anna? Is that what the progressive movement is all about? It's not about, trying to stop this crap. It's not about basically for once in your freaking lives, can you guys get together on something that is freaking okay? It's indecent. It's immoral. It's absolutely terrible. It's just sexual deviancy. We're not saying everybody does it, but we're pointing out the places where it's occurring and some of the people that are doing it. And all we're saying is that, you know what? Not to my child. It's age inappropriate. What the heck is wrong with you guys?
Even is it a crime that happened all the time before? Yes, absolutely. It happens all the time. We should fight like hell to make sure that it doesn't happen. For anyone who's got kids like me, or even if you don't have kids, it's the number one issue. Like I would say, by all means, make sure law enforcement's all over it, right? But it became.
Finally, you're saying that, yeah, but you know what? There's always a but. You just made that statement. You're basically with me on this. Because now you got kids. I'd like to ask you, Sancta Jank, if a librarian, I don't know how old your kids are. Mine are older. They're past that stage. They're not in kindergarten or high school, elementary or middle school or whatever. I'd just like to ask you. And you know what? I'd love for you guys to rebut this. Come back on and then rebut this, because you guys know that I'm right on this. 1,000% I'm right. You guys are absolutely wrong. But now we have some area of agreement there, Sank. We do. But I'm just saying that if your kids were like young, kindergarten, middle school, elementary school, and your kid went up to the librarian and said, you know what? There's that graphic sex novel that's out there, and I just heard about it. A friend of mine told me about it. And your kid's like 8, 9, 10 years old. And the librarian says, oh yeah, honey, I can check that book out for you. If you want any more, I got more. What the hell would you tell that librarian? Would you be giving her roses and chocolates and candies the next freaking day? Or would you go over there and give her a piece of your mind and say, hey, how dare you? That's not appropriate for you to give that to my child. Did you ask my permission? I'd be looking to see, okay, if I could bring, law enforcement into this and get a lawyer to see if she was contributing or he or she were contributing to the indecency of a minor.
Became a weird political issue.
Yeah, just a political attack against anyone the right wing doesn't like.
Yeah, so it was a twofer. It was number one, it allows for distraction and smearing of your opponents. So we're not concentrating on economic issues. It's the worst kind of attacking you can do.
Oh, you mean like when you guys decide to call somebody the B word a bigot, the R word a racist, the I word an insurrectionist, the R word a Republican, the W word a white supremacist, like that, right? Well, that doesn't, you're not, it's maybe, some verbal abuse. Oh, I'm being verbally abused. But here you're basically saying that the people on the right are making a political thing. Man, do you guys spin stuff. The spinsters are out and working overtime. It has nothing to do with freaking politics. Although everything out there, you can basically say has a political bent to it. Okay, I'll agree with that. But the fact of the matter is, it's all about the sexual exploitation of our young, impressionable children. And when parents decide that they want to teach their children about sex, about gender, about whatever the heck they want to teach them in the arena of sexual identity and sexualization and sexual topics, it's the parents, man. It's the parents who have all the rights, not the state, not the librarians, not the administration, not the principal, not the teachers, not the guidance counselors, not other parents, not other adults, only the parents, period, of that child. And that's what we're talking about. And the reason that it becomes political is because nobody is listening to logic and reason. So in order to make it political, you've got to go to the political avenues. You've got to talk to, to senators and congressmen and your state representatives and your school board or whatever. Then you got to make them make policy, and then it's got to be debated upon. That's why that happens. That's why the process eventually becomes political. Anyways, folks, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. We hope you enjoyed this video. This was one of those things where you get quite, what's going on over here? Can somebody wake up and smell the coffee? Can't we agree on this thing, parents? Where's their disagreement on this? There shouldn't be any. Anyways, you've been watching the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I've been your host. My name is Dr. Nasir. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, put your comments down below. I welcome TYT to come on and react to this reaction video. And I'll leave you with my final thought, which is, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. We'll see you again next time, folks. Take care and stay safe.